So thank you everyone for sticking around for the last session. My name is Kimberly Lee and I lead our Tencent social advertising business and team in North America. By a show of hands, how many of you know what Tencent is or who Tencent is? Okay, a few people. How many of you before this session or this summit knows what WeChat is? Okay, more of you, great. So what we really do here in the United States with our team and our business is we help brands, United States brands, to help navigate the Tencent social ecosystem, which includes WeChat. And it includes, in terms of the ecosystem, official accounts, which are really brand accounts, mini programs, closing the loop with payments, and also supported by our Tencent Cloud technology.
So we met a number of years ago as Tencent was growing, not just in popularity, but in functionality, which I think is interesting because it was clear, even in early days, that you guys were not only leading where the world was going to go in the messaging space, at least from a WeChat perspective. We can talk broadly, Tencent leading a lot of other areas as well. But today, the platform has evolved even beyond that. What are some of the things that you're kind of the most excited about in terms of where the platform is today?
Right, so Tencent as a company has over 90% of the social share in China. WeChat has over 1 billion monthly active users, and over 55% of users use WeChat for over 90 minutes a day. So that's huge engagement levels, and the reason for that is because of the ecosystem. So one of the things I'm really excited about is mini programs. So mini programs were launched, they're light apps within WeChat in January of 2017. In November 2018, just over a year and a half later, we've had over 1 million mini programs within the WeChat ecosystem. And this is really exciting, right? Because if you think about WeChat as a messaging app, and then you have another app ecosystem within it, these apps are allowing you to do many different types of services. So these services can help with the integration of smart retail, for example, in integrating the online and offline world. One example of that is Carrefour in Shanghai, Le Marché. And what we've done is you can actually use your mini program, go in store, scan a QR code of a product, and then purchase via WeChat Pay. And that can even go a step further, which is actually using facial recognition to scan your face and then purchase via WeChat Pay as well. So these mini programs are really bolstering the WeChat ecosystem to become more of a service platform, in addition to definitely the social and messaging components that the product has already had.
I think it's really meta. It's like apps inside of an app.
Right.
So did you mention that so there are 1 million, but did you mention the 2 million that there's only 2 million or less than 2 million that actually exist in the Apple app ecosystem? So you guys are like 50%. And how long have mini programs been?
From January 2017 to November 2018.
In a year.
In a little bit.
Yeah, here in a little bit, 2 years, I guess I should be able to count. As those mini programs have evolved, what have you learned from the interaction of consumers and brands? I mean, do they enjoy it? Are they looking for more? Or is it growing the business? Like, what's the,
Right, so part of what we do here in the United States is working with brands to help navigate WeChat, navigate mini programs, official accounts, and definitely advertising as a source of promoting those types of the ecosystem. One of the exciting parts is these mini programs are helping with services, for example, commerce and social commerce. So just imagine you're messaging your friends and you decide or you receive a message that says, here is a store, an e-commerce store, which is embedded in a mini program. And then you click on that, and what that has is the WeChat Pay function, so you can actually purchase the product right then and there. You can also share the mini program on your social timeline, which is called Moments. And then you can also engage with that store even more by following the official account and receiving codes and promotions and offers from the brand itself.
So, what I love about, I lived in China for a year. What I love about getting off the airplane, I've been, many times, but I love when you get off the airplane, you're like, oh, that's ambition that I taste in the air. It's almost palpable. Like the pace. The other piece I love is that technology moves at the pace of innovation, not the pace of litigation. And so to watch how fast you guys continue to iterate some of the challenges that we face here in the States, such as closing the loop because of the absence of payment, or even closing attribution, those pieces you guys have managed to figure out how to embed into the solution. So when you're bringing brands on, like, what are the questions or challenges, or even better, how have you been able to gain adoption from brands so quickly?
Right, so one part...
Or has it been quick? Maybe in my mind it was been quick.
One part of that is who is the audience, right? I mean, Tencent has dominant reach in the Chinese consumer segment, and not only Chinese consumers in China, but Chinese consumers around the world. So you have inbound China audience, you have outbound Chinese travelers, which represents a growing percentage of revenue for a lot of luxury businesses. And then you also have Chinese Americans. So really, if you're wanting to reach these audiences, you have to be on WeChat. I mean, we have 1 billion monthly active users. Our engagement rates in terms of penetration in tier 1 cities is 93%. That's almost 100%. So one of the things is if you want to reach this audience, you should be working with us. The second part of that is...
Is there anybody else to work with? Sorry. Yeah.
The second part of that is, I think when you look at how you can best leverage a chat platform, you're really looking at a full usage of the ecosystem. And a lot of the brands, they start out with maybe official account. And that official account allows them to develop a channel on WeChat because their users are already there, or their consumers are already there. And then they're able to send messages to them, and then they say, okay, well, we want to introduce a commerce component to that. So let's now move to a mini program and create a mini program store. So a lot of times it goes through a cycle where they see, okay, this is working, we have a great audience base and channel set, and then let's move into more services that we can introduce to drive ROI from a sales perspective.
So you have a video. Do you want to cue up the video or just kind of explain what?
Yeah, sure. I think this video basically gives a holistic understanding of what WeChat is as a platform that's not only messaging, but the fact that you can really engage with brands and businesses.
Well, just before we hit the video, the one thing I just want to say is that, the title of this was really Ecosystem, which the video will showcase ecosystem. But I think that as I'm sitting here thinking about how we wrap, how I have to say a couple of words at the end, but I'll be very quick because I know I stand between you and drinks, but is almost you got the full stack platform that took many, many years for digital tech in general, ad tech to build. You guys have rebuilt in many respects inside of kind of the chat platform. And so anyway, I guess we can.
I would love to, on that note, I would love to just share one case study.
Please,
that shows the entire ecosystem in action. Yeah. And it's one that we recently did with Yves Saint Laurent in Hong Kong. So this is one of our first international showcases where in Hong Kong, it's really popular to do pop-up shops, events. But there's a key pain point in those pop-up shops where users have to queue up for a very long time with the introduction of new products, and especially if they want to customize. So for Yves Saint Laurent, they were introducing their new perfume, which was called Mon Paris. And users, instead of having to queue up and basically tell the customer service representative that this is my name, okay, now I have to wait 15 minutes for my perfume bottle to be integrated for my engraving. Instead, what happened was we did a holistic campaign where before the event, we did moment advertising on WeChat, which is the social timeline within the WeChat app. And this drove to a mini program. And the mini program had the ability to associate your Face ID with the app. So facial recognition is you would scan your face, and then you would basically type in what you would like to engrave in the bottle and then purchase via the app. Then when the user went to the event itself, then they were able to just scan their face again via the machine on the point of purchase, and they received their bottle very quickly. So I think that's a great example of how multiple parts of the ecosystem are at play. And then once they receive their bottle, Again, you're already following the brand official account, so you get your receipt over the official account, and then you have a loyalty loop right there.
And I'm sure you share that purchase with your friends.
Exactly,
As a
it's very
result,
social.
So it's like the complete piece. Should we show the ecosystem video?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go ahead. That's so seamless. Oops, sorry. It's all right, it's the end of the day.
Over 800 million people connect with the world through WeChat, transforming the way people live and how they engage with one another. Industries are changing to adapt to this new lifestyle. WeChat's thriving ecosystem has created an unprecedented business environment where traditional service, cooperation, and business models are being reinvented with huge benefits. Optimizing market communication. WeChat's platform can attract new customers, target certain groups, and further interact with them. And decreases the distance between the brand and consumers. Improving business efficiency, registration, ordering, payment, and much more can be done through
this is an
WeChat.
example of looking at
Cumbersome processes can be completed easily online. Enhancing customer service. WeChat is making industries smarter and facilitating an individualized and intimate relationship with their customers. WeChat is raising the bars of business efficiency. Find business opportunities. From parking and shopping to TV and entertainment, traditional fields are changing and giving rise to endless new business opportunities. This open strategy is constantly breaking boundaries in the commercial world. This innovative force is constantly redefining what is possible. Change is everywhere. Change is constant. WeChat.
So as you look at that which is shaping a lot of where you are today, like when you guys look out 5 to 10 years, like what is the future of WeChat, or is that too far to even look right now?
Right, so it's very hard to dictate that because it's really dependent on the consumer. But what I can say about retail specifically is we're seeing convergence of online and offline, of course, but brick and mortar stores aren't going anywhere because they still account for 90% of the total purchases. I think WeChat is really helping brands gain a better consumer insight and also providing services to help navigate that transformation of retail in smart retail itself.
I love it. And then just last words, what advice do you give to brands that are kind of tiptoeing around or thinking about it? Like what about entering into that space?
Right, so I'm really happy to be here and speaking with you today because I think that there's so much to unbundle. Yeah. As you can see from the video, there are so many different use cases of WeChat and how brands can use them. The great thing is that now we have a team here. Yep. We have a team that's helping US brands, North America brands in navigating everything about WeChat. I would say, I would look at 3 different parts if you're looking to start a WeChat strategy. The first is who's your audience? Is it Chinese consumers in China? Mm-hmm. And the opportunity there for a go-to-market strategy. 2, is it, the Chinese travelers or is it the Chinese Americans? So that's the audience. Number 2 is what is your brand objective? Is it more about, having a one-on-one connection to build a communication channel? Or is it more about offering a service? So are you a hotel brand that wants to integrate loyalty program or facial recognition to do hotel check-in and booking? And then 3 would be, making sure that you have a deep understanding that WeChat is different than the other messaging platforms here in the United States. It's not the same thing. So a lot of brands come to us, and specifically me, and they say, we have a Facebook strategy, we're just going to do the same thing with WeChat, but it's not the case. It's a very different audience and very different platform. So I would definitely make sure that you do your research and you can reach out to us now to be able to navigate this new territory.
You're not just the Facebook of Asia? No, but let me, but honestly, so the other thing I believe is that, everything East is coming West in many respects, but I think for me, the big question is, if I'm a North American brand, if I'm sitting in North America, a lot of times, just having lived in the global world, a lot of times China team will say, we got WeChat.
Right.
But is that the case, or is there much more, to your point, I guess, it's those that are not in China, reaching Chinese consumers that are outside of China, that are traveling from China? I mean, how should North American businesses think about what they're doing in China, maybe specific to WeChat, versus what they can think about as a global brand from North America?
That's a great question. So again, that's looking at our 3 different business opportunities for Chinese in total around the world. One is inbound. Yep. So this is, for example, brands that don't have a presence already in China. So for example, we work with Rebecca Minkoff. They never had any presence in selling in China, and we work with them to open up their WeChat account, launch advertising for them, drive to their e-commerce store, et cetera. Another example is Chinese who are flying overseas, what we call outbound travelers. One example is we work with Michael Kors here in New York and their global team for social media. So of course, in China, we work with them to drive to their stores and their online store in China. But a year ago, we talked to them and said, there's a huger opportunity for you to tap into, which is Chinese travelers. This is expected to be over $458 billion in spending in total. So we work with them and drove to a WeChat official account and also to Moment advertising. And we saw that in sales ROAS, sales return on investment, specifically dollars associated with the campaigns during Lunar New Year and Golden Week, it was 935% higher than our best industry case for luxury around the world. So we are driving huge amounts of ROAS for global brands here in the United States on our platforms, even if they already have a team in China who are actively engaging with WeChat as a platform.
That's exciting, and to be honest with you, you guys are my inspiration for getting into this space, and I think continue to be the inspiration for the world in terms of what's possible as we move forward in the space. Let's give a huge round of applause for Kimberly. Thank you ever so much. Thank you.